take my time. Your wish is my design. From your heart and back to mine, watching the sunrise. Thank you, Jesus, for this time, God. We thank you, Lord, that I prophesied that we'd be here 23 years ago. And Lord, we are finally here. I guess this is a great way to start this thing.
Podcast wasn't a thing back then.
Podcast wasn't a thing back there, but I said, God, you know, we're gonna have a story and we got a book coming and everything. But anyway, I digress. We thank you, Lord, that we're gonna give everybody who tunes into this podcast exactly what they need. Lord, we're not going to start every episode like this, but we're going to start this one because we want to give you the first.
Yes.
We want to bless you in the first because that's why we're able to do it. You know, and they're going to hear that this is our secret, quote unquote, to having a better marriage daily. And so I just thank you that you guide our words, you guide our subjects, you guide our thoughts so that we can convey to these people out there who are needing to have information and answers what they need. And you know, because there's a lot of people out there who are married and what is the stats? I mean, I know this, we're starting off the wrong way, but stats are like 50% of marriages fail, something like that. And it's going up, maybe even. And so I've been trying to see, because like if you hadn't noticed already in the first 20 seconds that, you know, I'm the talker and she's the impact person. So you're right. So we're just gonna kick it off, man. I just posted on Facebook a while ago and asked my people, I said, hey, what about some topics for, you know, married, divorced, engaged, want to be married folks? And I said, what's some topics y'all like to hear? And going through everything, you know, it's like, you know, credit score, what your credit score look like, you know, talking about the sandwich decade while you still raising kids while dealing with aging parents, communication, you know, what are your wants and needs, financial boundaries, you know, blended families. Look, we've been through most of that.
Yes. Most of that.
We've been through most of that. So what we'll start with today is one in particular that said important conversations to have if you're considering marriage. In other words, expectations regarding finances, kids, wedding, household divisions of labor, sex, family boundaries, etc. So I want to thank Ebony Cormier for that title, for that topic. Appreciate you, Eb. So let's just get right into it. So when we got together, you want to tell the story? Because you saw me first.
I did. Yeah.
Tell them how you saw me, baby. Tell them how you saw me, baby.
At the Zydeco.
Now, these people don't know what Zydeco is.
At the Zydeco dances.
And listen, y'all see how she talking? She gonna come out of this eventually, y'all. She talking with her very sensitive voice.
Yeah, at the Zydeco dance.
I want your Anthony voice.
I started going to Zydeco dances, and they were playing in Beaumont, and I saw him on stage. He was, you know, playing drums, and didn't speak to him that night. You know, time went on, and then we continued to go to Zydeco's, and then every once in a while they would play near, I'm from Texas, from Port Arthur, so they would play near Port Arthur, Beaumont, places.
We need a sound. Pause. Right. So where this gets good is because I said I would never, ever date or anything with anybody from Port Arthur.
He sure did.
I said I was very, very, very stern about that. Yeah. So anyway, so go ahead. I'm sorry. Yeah. Just want to put that, you know.
Yeah. So we just started I started to see him in places as I went to Zydeco dances. And so one night here, one Sunday evening here in Lake Charles, Louisiana, my sisters and my friend, we went to their gig that Sunday evening, and we were able to talk. Well, we danced at their break. They took a break off stage, and then he came to ask me to dance. And now
did I come ask you to dance, or did I do something else?
You came. You had a list. At the time, he had a list of what was it called?
It was a mailing list.
It
I
was
was
a
a hustler.
mailing
I
list,
was a
yeah. And
hustler.
he was getting people's, addresses and telephone numbers, fans and things like that to let them know when they were gonna be, gigging and things like that. So we got on the mailing list, and then I think what I think we danced that night. I
No, I was
think.
playing. We didn't dance.
Oh, I don't
No.
remember. Okay.
No, girl, we ain't dance yet.
No.
I ain't even really know y'all like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
See, well, okay, so now here's the male version. Y'all ready, fellas? So so we play in this gig. It's the holiday season between Christmas and New Year's. And these four women walk in looking like quadruplets. Now, if you got to understand late 90s Zydeco wear, the Creole folks in Southwest Louisiana, we go to the Zydecos. It's very Western and hip hop at the same time, right? So they walk in with Lawman jeans on, all four of them, with the baby doll t-shirts with the V-necks and updos. Now y'all go and just figure out what the updos are. Something like this, but way more processed. They walk in with updos, looking like four. They look like quadruplets, and so we're in that. We're in the band, and it was like literally we like followed them all the way. It was like wow, and everybody was just captivated and whatnot. And so at the break, I was like, man, I'm gonna go do this. I'm gonna go do this. This list. So I go through and I go to everybody in the building. Because I wanted it, so I was ready to increase this band's reach and whatnot. So I go to them, and it's four beautiful women in a group. So fellas, young guys who ain't married yet, pro tip. Pro tip: whenever you got a group of women, don't you choose. If they all bad, don't you choose. Because you're gonna always choose wrong. And if you make the wrong choice, then the rest of them in that group ain't fooling with you because you made the wrong choice. Hey man, you got to know these things. Got to know these things. And so I didn't even know there was a choice to be made. I just went and recognized and appreciated the beauty, and I moved on. And then later at a dance in Beaumont, because that was here in Lake Charles, Louisiana. And then later a dance in Beaumont, I was going through the crowd. We weren't playing yet. It was a festival. And then I ran into, I was like, oh, hey. And it was, oh, hey, so I guess those little fluorescent green cars worked. They were like, yep, we got them on our refrigerators. I was like, all right, sweet. And I was like, you want to dance? She was like, yeah. And when we danced,
but tell the truth.
What?
You didn't dance with just anybody. You had to.
Yeah. I was a dancing snob. I was a dancing snob.
Zydeco dancing snob.
I was a Zydeco dance snob. And I had never seen a dance, but I was, since in that little circle, that was the vibe I was getting. I was getting rhythm from that part of the circle. I was like, well, look, let's dance. I worked the whole circle, but that was the vibe right there, right? So we got there and we went and danced. I was like, oh my God, she can dance. So I was like, okay. Yes, I was like, okay. Oh, by the way, we got Joel off camera. Joel's giving us signals. So you need to put your mic, get close to your mic. Or talk louder.
Okay.
Either way. Because you can talk. Give me a so y'all gonna know.
Gotcha.
But anyway, so we danced, we get that thing going, man. And then from that point on, I had just gotten out of a relationship. And then we talked about it, and look, and this is something. We don't want to steal it from Mike Todd, but they talk about being hot, humble, open, and transparent. We got to come up with our own little analogy, but we're gonna keep it real here. We're gonna keep it totally real here. She was seeing somebody she wasn't really serious about. I just gotten out of a relationship, but I was also, seeing casually people, where I was living in Baton Rouge, and so we just got to talking. And it was like, hey, we should kick it.
Yep.
Note to self. Kicking it can lead to a long-term relationship.
Kicking it can lead to marriage.
That's the whole thing. Kicking it can lead to marriage.
Kicking it can lead to marriage.
Yeah, so we were just kicking it because I'm always one. I always want to set the expectation, because I learned a long time ago that, and women, y'all can respond in the comments. I learned a long time ago that women just want to know the truth and they want to have a choice.
Yes.
Now, fellas, we're the exact same way. and again, we're talking about pre-marriage, pre-save, pre-whatever,
Yes.
look, we was kicking it. And I was just like, look, I'm not single. I'm single, but I'm not alone. And, and we can just enjoy each other's company when we're together. And she was like, hey, I ain't tripping.
Cool.
And then when y'all find out how she really was later on, she was like, I don't fool with many people for too long. I don't want nobody tell them, baby. I don't want to speak for you. How were you back then?
I wasn't looking for a committed relationship. I just wasn't, because of the past and things that I had gone through. So I just wasn't looking for a committed relationship, and that's how I rolled. And people that I dealt with, they knew that I was upfront with that.
Yeah.
About that.
Yeah, so whenever when I started, trying to make some moves, what I'm saying, they were always showing up at the gigs.
Yeah.
I mean, I was newly single. I was ready to spread my wings. And then I sent those doggone things to her house, and I kept inviting. Y'all coming? We're gonna be the next week.
We'll be in Houston. We'll be in, Raywood. We'll be in different places.
Yeah.
And so
they would show up.
We showed up.
They would show up, and I'd be like, "Oh, they here? Okay, all right,
Great times.
Yeah. We had a great
And
time.
we loved dancing too. So
And then you have the little generic conversation. I'm like, so what do you do? And then she said,
I cuss and fight for a living.
that'll be a good time for the camera to go bum 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 bum.
Yeah.
So what do you do?
That was my answer. I cussed and fought for a living. That's what I did.
Yep. She said, I cuss and fight for them. I said, I don't want no trouble. I just want to dance. That's all. I just want to dance. I don't want no trouble. Yeah. And so, she worked in the jail.
In Jefferson County. So, I was well into my career when we met. Yeah. So, just working in that environment, it just, I had I'm not putting up with foolishness, don't try to play me, that kind of attitude. And I wore it. I wore it
on
well.
her face.
On my face.
Give me the look, baby. Give me the look, baby. Give me the look, baby. Can you do the look still? You can't do the look no more?
I don't know.
That's a testament to growth right there, boy. She ain't did the look in a long time.
And I told him, I said, that way, it keeps the riffraff at bay. It worked for me.
But I wasn't scared.
And he wasn't scared.
Try to look, baby. Try to look, baby. You can't even do it no more.
I did it this morning.
Yeah, well, you didn't really do it this morning. We was playing this morning because that's nothing. You got to keep it hot.
Yeah.
I took her this morning. We both got pedicures, and when I walked out before she did because she had to let her nails dry, and I was gonna go get some food, and I waited for her. And when she was walking out, I was like, hey, man, what's your name here? What's your name? Well, you got a man? You got a man? And she was like, I said, you sure looking good? She's like, thanks. And got in her car. She said, that's how I did them, baby. That's how I did them.
And that's how I do them still.
Right.
When they try to holler on the cool.
Yeah, man. So anyway, that happened. We went out. We started going out. And then, I started noticing that, that I started kind of feeling a little different vibe whenever we get together. And I was like, I didn't want to, and I was kind of like low key asking without asking. And I was like, I want to ask you something, but I don't know if I ask you, once I ask you, I'm responsible, because I was like, I feel like, you don't have no situations going on this end no more. But I ain't say that, because, man, we will definitely, we'll definitely play stupid for a good while. And I was trying it. But where she was, which was a perfect situation for us, where she was like, if I get tired of you, you can play if you want.
Yeah, I was good at that.
Because what was your number one rule that we talked about? Never do what? You don't ever go what?
Back. Ever. Don't go back. Once a relationship has ended, I don't go back.
See that face? That's the face right there. See, it brought it back. It brought it back. I don't go back. I don't go back. Yep. And so I was like, okay. So I started checking out. I was like, well, So I asked, and when I asked, she was like, no, And I said, I think it happened by right. And she's like, yeah, you're kind of close. I was like, oh, okay, cool. And so then I had a decision to make at that point because I understood once I done said it, it's already in the atmosphere. So now I'm like, okay, so how much longer am I gonna, just hold off? Because, I've been in a relationship for a good while, and I was really enjoying being single and untethered per se, and so I was literally driving home after talking with her, being with her that weekend, and I was driving home and I heard, you've passed your wife up many times in the past. Are you gonna pass this one up too? So another disclaimer to make, while we're doing this is that whereas this is not a religious podcast, this is not a quote unquote Christian podcast. Whatever theology that you use is on you, but we're going to talk about the principles that work. And just for us and our relationships and our relationship, what has worked and what we've based it on is the principles of the Word of God.
Yes.
And so, that's where we are. Again, don't turn it off because we said that, because it's going to be really juicy as we go. This is just to let you know this is how we do. And I actually believe that I heard the audible voice of God, and I said, whoa. So now I really got a decision to make, So then I go home and I'm like, wow. And then, I just went on ahead and made that decision, and I asked and she said yes. And the me asking is a whole nother podcast, because, that's really funny and it'll be great. So now that we talked about how we got here. Also, we probably should tell them, we were a blended family.
Yes.
She was a single,
single mother. I was a single parent for 17 years.
14, man.
Married.
Yeah, we fight over that.
The married part. We were not married. 17 years, single parent. And so
and all the single ladies are like, that's right.
Get past, all the introductory stuff, then, it's really, really interesting. Really interesting.
Yeah, I came into his life when he was 14. So, I mean,
he was 14, but officially 17 years.
Yeah. And Lil Sean was four. So we came in with each having a son.
Yes.
And I guess what's, to keep y'all really interested in how the fact that we're still here 22 years later is, now what'd you say about children?
I didn't want to have any more.
Right. So talk about setting the expectation. Yeah. So, I'm really good at communicating, and getting stuff together. And so, we having these talks and stuff. And I'm like, so, kids. And then she say, that face, she gave me that face right there. And then you said, what?
I said, I don't want to have any more kids. I'm done.
You didn't say I didn't want. Tell them how you said it.
I'm not having.
Look, I thought we were going to be real with these people.
We are. I'm not having any more kids. I'm not. So
you didn't even use proper English. Tell the truth. But you say I ain't having no. You say I ain't having no more kids.
I ain't having no more kids. If you want a baby, go make one, and I'll be all right with it, because I'm not having it. I'm not having. She
said that, y'all.
Enough. I said that. I did.
She said that.
I did.
And look, so I hear my dumb self going, for real, for real. She said, I'm so serious. Shop closed. No more coming out of here. Done.
Done.
Done data.
And I meant that.
She sure did. So I told how many years ago did we start talking about the ain't I happy that?
Oh, probably about 10 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we would, our friends, his friends, because I'm 4 years older than him, but his friends mostly were just, if not just having kids, their kids were like in elementary school. Some of them were just having kids and things like that. And when we would talk about, our friends, and I'd be like, aren't you happy we didn't start over? Aren't you happy? And, I was excited about that because we didn't have to, deal with having babysitters anymore. And then he traveled a lot. He was a musician. He was in the band and he was rolling like, he was, and then when he got his own band, then he was rolling. He was going a week at a time, 2 weeks at a time, 3 weeks at a time. And I was at home living like a single parent until he came back. So I did not want to complicate that and bring a newborn into this kind of life where I'm living like I'm a single parent all over again.
See, because when we got married, let's just go to when we got married. I was 32.
I was 36.
And so I'm thinking, well, she just didn't have a good experience whenever, she had the first one, had her child. So I'm
He
thinking,
held out hope. He held out hope.
I held out hope. I was like, keep hope alive, keep hope alive. I was like, look, well, so I think it was just because you didn't have a good experience. And that same head shake. She went, I said, but for real though, she's like, how many ways can I explain?
How many ways? How many ways can I express to you that I don't want any more kids? As a matter of fact, I never saw myself with a whole bunch of kids ever growing up as a little girl. One was good enough. I experienced it. I brought a child into this world. One, that's all I want. No, absolutely not.
Yep, she said, Lil Sean is baby enough for him.
Yes, because when we got married, he was 7. So I was starting all over again, mothering, you know what I'm saying? A small child. He was self-sufficient. Little dude was amazing, but he was a child. So that was baby enough for me. And then, then he had that sort of career. I was working out of state in Beaumont, commuting every day. I could not see that working well, even if I wanted to have a child. No, but I didn't.
Yeah. So staying on topic, because we can go down rabbit holes, man. We can go down rabbit holes for real. So questions that we asked each other, we really talked about everything. We really talked about everything before we got married, and you should ask those questions. Because a lot of times you can get caught up in the ether of, oh my God, they're so fine. Oh my God, the sex is so good. Oh my God, she's so beautiful. Oh my God, he's so whatever. And then y'all getting stuck in that. And then just this big roller coaster and this big whirlwind. Next thing you know, you've gotten married, and now you're married. And for some reason, weeks after you get married, stuff changes. I guess whenever it starts to settle in that you can't go nowhere, because you done made this commitment for God and country and your friends and family, and everything starts to get, the pressure then kicks on. Did you feel that?
I suppose, yes. I suppose. I just thinking about it now, having been the breadwinner, the everything before you, I made all the choices, did all that, didn't have to run it by anybody. Those kinds of things really did kick in at first, like, okay, now I have to consider someone else. It's not just me, in just our daily living. I would forget sometimes, like, okay, you have a husband to consider now. You can't just have a thought and then just roll with it. Those kinds of, really.
Well, you can.
You can.
But then there's probably a conversation that's going to come with it.
Exactly. So those kinds of things, going, simple things is just going out and having to, remembering to say, hey, I'm going to the grocery store. I'm going here. I'm going there. Those things I didn't have to do before. And then all of a sudden I'm having to consider you. You know what I'm saying? And consider, Sean and all of that. And so, yeah, it was a huge adjustment.
Yeah.
Huge adjustment. And those are not the conversations we had.
And Better Marriage Daily Podcast is sponsored by Drums Earwear. And I'm going to read this because I want to get it right. It's the pioneering Black-owned, woman-founded earphone company in the U.S., the first one, y'all. Their mission is to empower audio enthusiasts to safeguard their hearing, reducing the risk of noise-induced hearing loss by delivering high-quality, high-health-conscious audio products that allow for a profound understanding of audio at safe volume levels. Now, don't get it twisted. We put these things on, they jam, right?
It's jamming.
What was your first thought when you put them on?
It's like, wow, it's so clear. But the one thing is that I didn't feel like my ears were hurting.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
They're isolated enough to where I don't have to raise the volume up. You don't need to raise the volume up.
Right.
To hear and hear well. And I can hear everything in the music.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing because they got a lot of low end. So if you listen to music with a lot of low end, a lot of 808s, a lot of bottom, a lot of bass, man, it rumbles. But it's not an offensive rumble, and I can't even turn them all the way up. So Drums Earwear, founded by Dr. Lena Joseph Ford. She's an audiologist from New Orleans, Louisiana. Listen, y'all holla at it. They also have the in-ears. They got the wireless buds, and they have a great microphone on them. Noise cancellation. They have active noise cancellation on these things, which then once you put that button on, it takes the music to a whole nother level. So Drums Earwear, y'all go check them out at drumsworld.com.
I think that was one of the things that I was like, okay, I'd have to say to myself, I'm married, like for real, like I'm married.
Can you talk to the single person who is in their early 30s, early to mid 30s, who is thinking, I think I want to be married. I don't know if I want to be married. And if they're considering being married, talk about the change, you know what I'm saying? Because you were living your life not even expecting to be married.
I was not. This was a surprise. Falling in love was a surprise.
I was a surprise.
No, really. No. Falling in love was a surprise. I wasn't looking for it. I was living my life. Had I thought about marriage? Yes. Probably after my son Anthony had graduated, maybe. I don't know. I really didn't think too much about it. And then all of a sudden we meet and then here I am, you know. But I never was a person to be thinking about it all the time. Am I ever going to get married? Is it possible that I can get married? And I've had a child out of I've had a child out of wedlock. I'm a single parent. Who's going to want me? I never really thought about those things. I was busy living. So that was, it just wasn't something that I just thought about all the time. It just wasn't a consuming thought for me. But as a single person, I think it is so important to have lived a little bit before, getting in a committed relationship, marrying and things like that, and really do your homework. And really, I believe the most important thing is to work on yourself first. Work on the things that, just work on yourself. Just figure out who you are before you marry someone else. Because I could have, there are things that I went through after marriage that could have, I could have saved myself a lot of heartache.
Hey, stay tuned. Comes subsequent episodes
of a lot of heartache because I did not work on me. I was too busy working to live.
Well, no, that's important.
Yeah,
Let's talk about that because I don't know how many guys are going to be watching this. I hope guys are watching this because we're going to give you some tools as well, as in your relationship that can help you to make your marriage better. Because and even when coming up with a name, right now the name is Better Marriage Daily, and you know because nobody can give you a template for making a perfect marriage.
No,
So
because there is none.
there's no perfect marriage. You got two imperfect people. How can you have perfect marriage? But you can definitely have something that feels like perfect. And the way you do that is to try to have a better marriage daily, every day. So somebody asked me, okay, so I never told y'all what I did. I'm an artist. I play Creole rock and soul. So I'm on stages, I'm touring, I'm, doing stuff. When I get on TV, I'm loving it. I'm on TV, hosting TV shows, hosting documentaries. So that's my thing. I'm always in front of people, always moving, right? And I know who I am. Wait, where was I going with this? What did I say?
I was saying that I didn't find out. I could have saved myself a lot of heartache.
Yeah.
Had I figured who I was out first.
Right.
Because I was too busy living.
Yeah.
Yes, I was too busy living.
Yeah. That's it.
I'm too busy making a way
Right.
for me and mine.
Yeah, so I'm up here. I'm on the road. I'm rolling. I'm in front of people all the time. There's women all over the place. And after we get married, that's not really an issue for me because, which is another episode. Man, we just got all kind of episodes. We just going to have to tag those. Because I had examples of successful failures, and my one thing that I said that I was not going to do once I got married was cheat on my wife. And my wife was going to be, my marriage was going to be the most important thing. And I was going to fight, to make it the best that it could be, And so she's living her life unconcerned with those things. I'm living my life unconcerned with those things. Then we come together and now she's been her own person, making all her own decisions and not having to consider anybody. And I'm up here because I want to be the perfect husband. So I come in and I'm wanting to take care and help and do and shoulder and and do other stuff like that. And she fighting me. Tooth and nail fighting me.
Yes,
so not because the topic of this thing was the questions you need to topics you need to talk about before you decide to be in a relationship and get married. One of them was, how are you with decision making? And the thing that stuck out to me was, and I don't know if most guys would feel this, but I felt a lot of pressure when she said this. She says, being a single parent for 14 years, I don't want to be the one making all decisions. I'm tired of that. I'm ready to just be.
And I was.
And that was her thing, right? So then we get married, and there's nary a decision that she would let me make without her. And look, and how you say that? And a fight come with that.
Yes.
And a fight come with that.
Yes.
So explain in your mind what was going on at that time, because I don't know. To this day, I still don't know.
I said what I said, and I was ready. But when
don't stutter now.
No,
don't stutter now.
When life got real and we got married, and I realized, like, it is not your responsibility to make all of. You said you wanted one thing, now you have that, but now you have issue now with not making decisions. You know what I'm saying? With not shouldering the decision making. You have an issue with that. So what is that, and where is that coming from? Because you said you wanted a helpmeet. You said you wanted somebody to partner with. And it took me years.
Decades. Well, we only been married 23 years, but
at least a decade. I'm a little bit, yeah.
More than
I'm gonna say a decade.
I'm gonna go with 2. I'm gonna go with 2, Bob. I'm gonna go with 2 decades, Bob. 20 years.
But it took me about 20 years to realize what the issue was. The why. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you go with that.
And
Because I think this is huge.
Yeah.
So the why.
God gave me this huge revelation that it was trust. I had trust issues. And it never dawned on me that I had trust issues. And I was like, wow, that's simple. It's really simple, but complicated in so many ways because there's a reason why I didn't trust. But then
not my fault.
It wasn't his fault. No, it wasn't. But it's like he had to show me that I could trust him because my experience was that when I trusted, people let me down. They showed themselves, just, yeah, they weren't to be trusted.
and what highway was that at that Waffle House? Was that what is that?
365.
365?
Yeah. Highway 365.
See, they're from Texas. They talk about, the feeder road and Highway 365 and two all that. I'm from Louisiana.
Yeah.
I-10, I-12, back road, corner, whatever. So anyway, so we were at this, and I realized that early on. I identified that early on. And once I was in love with her and we were in relationship, we were coming home from a gig one weekend and we were eating early in the morning, about 2, 3 o'clock in the morning in Waffle House. Man, do you miss that? You miss that?
Mm-mm.
I'm at the Waffle House at 2 o'clock in the morning, not to travel in the road, falling asleep.
No, I don't.
So anyway, so we had the Waffle House, man, sitting up there talking, and I said, you know what? I said, I'm gonna restore your faith in men. I said, I'm going to make it my life's mission to restore your faith in men. I said, you know what? I'm looking at you right now, and I've been dealing with you for a little while. I said, and you have a 25-foot stone wall castle around your heart and your emotions and your trust.
Oh, I absolutely did.
And I said, I'm going to be a wrecking ball, baby. Yep. That was before the wrecking ball song. I remember that. I said, I'm going to be a wrecking ball. I said, I'm breaking them walls down, girl. And she chuckled because, I'd be kind of funny sometimes.
Yeah, he's a comedian.
And she chuckled. And I said, but no, I'm so serious. I said, starting today. I said, I've been starting. I said, but I'm letting you know, starting today, I'm going to break all those walls down.
Yeah. And he finally did it. It took him 2 decades.
I mean, bruh, come on, what a brother got to do.
It took him 2 decades, y'all. No, it didn't.
See, when you say it like that, 2 decades.
He was trustworthy, but the walls he spoke about. It, it was a fortress. It really was. And that's how I navigated the world before I met him. Even...
And it worked for you.
And it worked.
Yeah.
It did. It worked.
And so I said that maybe that's something, because, we're wrapping up. We could talk forever because, like I said, we got a lot of experience, good and bad, that you'll find out in this podcast. But we want to kind of keep it in small bites and stuff like that. So to wrap up, and I guess, this is for ladies, and I'll give the men a tip. But women who are set in their ways and they say they want to be married. Look, they say they want to be married. Yeah, speak to that right quick, and then I'll speak to the guys on that other tip.
Start the work now. Start the work now, because you cannot. Your marriage will be a failure from the beginning. You have to start the work now. You have to, I mean, if it takes, doing some reading, if it takes, prayer, it for me, it took all of that. But,
counseling,
counseling, all that, deal with your issues first before you commit to a marriage, because marriage will do nothing but expose you.
Ooh.
And that is what happened to me. I got exposed, not necessarily to Sean, but I got I I got exposed to myself. Like, there were times that I'd be like, girl, like, you have some like the Holy Spirit would just, like, all of a sudden just show me something.
Like
And
that time he was washing dishes.
yes, the Holy Spirit would just show me myself, and I'd be like, wow, like, you really do need to work on some things.
Yeah, because like
Yeah.
we probably about 5-6 years, maybe 6-7 years in, and she's in the kitchen, she's at the at the sink washing dishes, and we have a dishwasher, so I didn't understand that, but she's washing dishes. She's washing dishes.
Sometimes it's easier in therapy.
Right, but it was therapy this time,
Yeah, it was.
because she was crying, and I walk up and I'm like, "What I do?" She's like, "You ain't do nothing." I said, "What I do?"
Oh man.
She says, "You didn't do anything, but you close. You about to do something." And I was like, "All right." I was like, "All right, we'll talk about it later." Yeah, we'll talk about it later. And so then later she came back and she was like, God showed me that I was selfish.
God showed me that I am selfish. And I really do need to work on that, And so that's why I say that marriage exposes who you are. And if you don't deal with it, your marriage is doomed to fail. And that's just the truth.
And that's why we're here. We want to give good examples so that y'all can have examples to use, so that you're like us in some ways, in the successful ways, and you can learn from our failures so that you don't repeat the same mistakes that we made. Now, fellas, I can say this, this is just the introductory day, and whatnot. But listen, I've been watching, I'm always paying attention, and I've always been a studier of women, because of course, before I was married, my studying of women was to be, what I was. I love me some women. But then I say that, I'm the sum total of my experiences in every way, because all of that studying, prepared me to be with this very, very complex woman. And I can just say this, just from listening to women, and like even now you're starting to see it on the memes and the podcasts and all the little IG posts and Snapchats or whatever, a man's job. And that's the other thing. We're speaking in a marriage of, a husband and wife. Now, the principles apply, and I'm 54 years old, so I'm going to say these things in the context of how we've lived our last, 25 years?
Yeah, 25.
Yeah, so in the context we live in our last 25 years. So my job as a husband is to protect and provide. And I add that because that's what everybody else is saying. It's like, it is protect and provide. Well, that's old school. But in that provide, what we got to add is nurture, spiritually cover, what else? What else is something that I do that you appreciate it's not encompassed in what I just said?
You listen.
Microphone.
You listen, and you watch patterns.
Come on, tell me about myself, baby. Tell me about.
You do. It's not. There isn't much that will. Well, there isn't much that you miss about me. Yeah.
Yeah, because you're my everything.
I know. But
you my everything. Yeah. Hey, I am wholly and completely concerned with every aspect of your life. Your happiness is my desire and my ultimate mission. Come on, girls, talk about it. Talk about it.
Yeah.
Y'all get yourself a Sean. You better know. You better recognize. Yes, because this one taken, but you get yourself a Sean. So I'm like I wanted to make sure that I was the best husband that I could be, because you can't go into a marriage planning for it to fail. Now that was whenever we having these conversations, like we talked about earlier, you got to have these conversations. Are you the type of person that goes into a relationship considering failure? If you are, I'm telling you that increases the percentage, of your potential to fail. So I went in.
And we did not go into the marriage. We went into the marriage pretty much saying that, like, we're gonna be here until like death do us part.
Yeah,
like
we ain't going nowhere.
We're not going anywhere. We may disagree, argue, all that, but what we're not gonna do is divorce. And I don't know if that came from our upbringing because our parents were married for over 50 years. You know what I'm saying? And we've seen uncles and aunts and things like that. We're not saying that all of it was perfect, but what we're saying is that they had the commitment part down pat.
Yeah, and for all y'all people who all the new people who are saying, yeah, but it was toxic. It was toxic. Yeah. Yes,
some of them were.
Yes,
absolutely.
But you can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You got to take the successful failures and the successful successes, and apply them. Yeah. What they understood was life was hard.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna mess up, but that's not a reason to quit. Now, that's also not. I'm not talking about abusive relationships. Nope. Not talking about relationships where there's like no love. Mm-mm. No, I'm not talking about that. But things where it's just like we don't get along, or it's just the money's tight.
Yeah.
You just got to do what you got to do to get through. But if you keep each other the focus,
keep God the focus first for us.
For us, yeah.
Because He is truly the center of everything. For us.
Yeah. So we'll leave you with this. I was on the red carpet and I did an interview with, I think it was Ebony Magazine or one of those networks. I don't remember what it was, but anyway, I was on the red carpet doing an interview and they asked me, because it was the Grammys was around Valentine's Day. And they say, do y'all do anything special for Valentine's Day? And I said, no. And they went, because she was standing next to me on the red carpet. They're like, why would you say that in front of your wife? I said, no. I said, because you got to understand something. Every day, we're trying to outlove each other every day.
Yes.
So Valentine's Day is just another day. Now, will we take advantage of that to go and maybe eat something and eat something we always wanted to go eat, or, that we don't eat regularly? Yeah, we'll do that. But is it like the day that we show each other? No, absolutely not. It's every day.
Every day we do that.
Every day. So we're gonna have to come up with a catchphrase, but until now, for now it's just, hey y'all, keep on loving each other in spite of each other. And wait on the book. Because that's what I told her when we got married. I said, we're gonna write a book. It's gonna be called Loving Each Other in Spite of Each Other. And she said, do it for me, baby. Do it for me.
I was like,
And listen, y'all, I know we said it was going to go, but that face right there and the man, look, just so we give y'all a teaser. Her first answer to everything for the first 20 years of our marriage was what?
No.
You know what I'm saying, bro?
Say something and he'll say something and be like, And he would say, what do you mean? I was like, Or sometimes I wouldn't even say, I'd be like,
She'd give me that look. She was like, dude, look. And I'm like, really, bro? You didn't even.
But I believe that was more habit.
I know it was habit.
It was more habit.
Because I'm sitting up here watching. I'm like, you didn't even think about that.
I didn't.
You just said no.
But you have to understand too, is that every day.
I know.
Every day. That was a part of me. It just came out. I didn't even, every day it came out. I did it 8 hours a day, 16 hours a day.
Yep.
So coming home, I just couldn't, nope. And
she treated me like an inmate. She treated me like an inmate. I said, I'm not at your job. I'm not a customer. I'm your husband.
Yeah.
She was like, well, right now you acting like a customer. I was like, cold-blooded, man, cold-blooded. But anyway, I'm Sean Ardwan. This is my beautiful wife.
I'm Vanessa.
And, we're the Ardwans, and we want you to, think about it and choose to love each other in spite of each other. So until next time, peace. It's still rolling? The audio is too? Okay, cool. Yeah.
So
say that
it
again,
was
say that again.
at first when you said book, this was years ago.
I know.
I wouldn't have been ready for that anyway. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? Just no way. I think we had to grow into who we are today first. Time has done its work.
Yeah.
But podcast, when you first talked about it, I was like, oof, I don't want to do that either. Because that's really being exposed and
Yeah.
and transparent and stuff, and people see your face and your expressions and things like that,
And they get to see how mean you really are.
Look, this face,
they get to see how mean you really are.
this face. You know what I'm saying? This face is serious.
Vanessa's so nice.
And I am, but Vanessa's about her business. And Vanessa's not gonna just allow you to give her a load of BS.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? You
Right.
can't, you have to understand where I come from now.
Right. Using that for promo for sure.
Take my time. Your wish is my desire.